For the love of God, there's only a couple things that are certain in life. That's death, taxes, and the Philadelphia 76ers to fall in flames in the first or second round of the NBA playoffs. Let's just keep it a buck. Even though they've had key factors on why the Philadelphia 76ers have not been, having the most gracious start to the NBA season. Mind you, it's only 82 games. Most of the expectations over the momentum could be high exaggeration or just overly reacted results. We've had outstanding starts and we had slow starts. The New York Knicks are 4-5, even though they have title aspirations after having a Cat, but they faltered defensively after losing Dante DiVincenzo off the wings. That was a big boost in perimeter defense. Milwaukee Bucks are 2-8. The only team is only with one less win because they played less games. That's the Philadelphia 76ers, guys. Now, there could be slander, and I will be the first to say that I've been a perennial slanderer of Joel Embiid, for certain bad and some for terrible and good reason. No one's denouncing Joel Embiid as an all-NBA forward. He's already shown that he's a league MVP, a top scorer. He can get you a double-double like that. Has to be one of the best 76ers in the most recent history. Being an actual draft pick, actually lived over expectations after a season-long injury. And now he's coming over to the factor of his health being for certain and slander over recent failure of results when it came to poor coaching staff, poor results, poor teammates, and everything's going to fall over to the lap of the head guy in charge. And usually that's not even the front office. Sometimes that's not even the coaching staff. That's going to be put over to the top guy that gets the most attention because you see him the most. And most figureheads or sometimes the guys up the front lines. Because who else is going to be responsible for the result, right? So I can understand if Joel feel like the world is against him. Still doesn't justify him beating the shit out just pushing a reporter. Now, I think his three-game suspension will be finally removed after an altercation over having some deeply disrespected words with an NBA journalist going over his health and coordinating that somehow with his son. And seeing that lives up to his expectations or being a man of his word, trying to guilt trip him over his availability, even though most of the time that's coming off his body. You can't control that. And Joel Embiid, knowing that you know that the team's in a struggling mess, he has to come back to possibly fight up and get his team back over in the leaderboard, knowing they fall 12th in the NBA. His injury status always coming into question, involving Paul George, Tyrese Maxey out for a while. That went to him and he blew a gasket. Now I heard he'll return the NBA Cup in our first game against the Knicks in the NBA Cup. That's like literally a bandage for the poor ratings the NBA gets, because nobody stays healthy. You can't even watch the games over the subscription basis that they try to get you to watch. And nobody cares about basketball like that anymore because they're just focusing on getting the over and under. No one cares about the actual game. And it just pisses me off that we gotta just falter it over to just Joel Embiid. And I understand that. Do I feel like sometimes Joel Embiid could be somewhat unprofessional? Yes. But knowing like this project over in the long term, even though I feel like on paper the Sixers should be a guaranteed top 5 seed in the Eastern Conference, they just keep shooting themselves in the foot when it came to the James Harden drama, when it came to the Ben Simmons drama, when it came to a season-long injury, then missing overtraining, causing more drama. Most of this shit can't be under his control. So I just come over a deep perspective that Joel Embiid's just getting the Patrick Ewing treatment over all of this. That possibly after his twilight years, when he's pushed over the hill after an All-NBA run, he'll go over to a contending team while he might have a Dwight Howard role of being the second best center over on the rotation, or he'll just be pushed over on a franchise record-breaking deal over a blockbuster trade over the next season's deadline, where he'll possibly underachieve again. And it sucks too, because I like Joel Embiid. And most Sixers fans would still think there'd be considerably more potential for him to contend, but how else would the Sixers front office? How they always pick these over-the-hill second option stars that couldn't get it done in the franchise that they've been in, especially Paul George, especially James Harden, like it was when they had Chris Webber on the team, and Dikembe Mutombo on the team. Washed, overly dependent secondary All-NBA stars that shown that they weren't the top option to begin with, and then the Sixers got to underachieve again for the top guy to try to bail him out again. And then when he gets sick of it over the media, he'll blow over a gasket, and then he'll be villainized over as a diva. I can understand Joel Embiid's frustration, and knowing trying to possibly play less games would solve or hinder it more, knowing that you feel like you need less work to get the job done. So it's just a cavalcade of issues. And that's just plenty of other reasons why the Sixers process is possibly going to end up over a failure. Other than if Joel Embiid is healthy or not. And it just came over shooting themselves over in the foot. And it sucks too, because there's very talented players. We know how good Kelly Oubre Jr. can be on a rotation. Shouldn't be the starter. They pick up a good perimeter wing shot stopper like Yabusele. They got Jared McCain, that I heard he's a good player. And their best guard right now is Kyle Lowry, because Tyrese Maxey's going to be out for a while. So there's only so much you can fix up over for this franchise, because I think the most grimmest future goes to the 76ers. Because what could be the potential to hinder themselves before? Instead of a scenery change, knowing like they keep getting the result with the same guy in the head of the snake. It's not looking good. Same thing could be said about the Milwaukee Bucks, but I already had my video on that. I just feel like Joel needs to get out of Philly. Build a new relation. This franchise doesn't care about you. This franchise is trying to hinder over a Band-Aid that they keep trying to stick, even though it's lesser quality. All because you heard of it doesn't mean you should put it on. Like, we're not using duct tape, sir. I don't want fucking Paul George in his podcast that's more consistent than his postseason performances on my team, bro. No disrespect on Paul George. We all know he's a bucket. But that's all he is. Sometimes that's not going to be good enough to help you in the championship. Like, there's more expectation on the Golden State Warriors on making it to the conference finals than the Philadelphia 76ers. And this is with the Cleveland Cavaliers that are also undefeated, and I feel like they still get less talked to over in the media, all because they're a smaller market franchise. Even though they're in a good sports market like Ohio, they have great fans whenever they succeed, and they have two great all NBA guards at their backcourt like Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell that made All-Star appearances. Yet we got to talk about teams that are shit. That's crazy. But that's my opinion. How do you guys feel about how the Sixers' direction is following? I know it's a bit early in the season, so there might be an over-exaggeration, and they could follow up to have a great remainder of the regular season. But it's all up to whatever's going to happen. Hopefully for this in-season tournament, we get some semblance of optimism, of success that the Sixers could possibly roll over. Even if they don't come up winning this NBA Cup, they could at least show like they're progressing to possibly be more competitive in the latter half of the season, depending if they make any moves or not. That's it for me here on the DC Show. Like, comment, subscribe for more here on the channel. I hope you guys had a wonderful Veterans Day. Enjoy the rest of the week.